Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Well, Jake, it looks like you're the proud father of 2 babies there.
Well, one of them's technically your baby.
Yes, my iPad 2 and your new HP TouchPad.
The HP TouchPad, this is the 32 gigabyte model. Not that there's any physical difference between the 32 and the 16, but just for point of reference.
So doing a comparison between the two.
Comparing between the two, the iPad 2 feels in my hand slightly lighter. I'm not sure whether it is. I haven't weighed them, but it feels lighter. And the metal casing, to me, feels a lot more elegant than the plastic casing. Although the iPad 2 also feels a lot more elegant than the iPad 1 did. So it might be a better comparison to compare the TouchPad Gen 1 to the iPad Gen 1. Some things that are also similar about them, they have the home button in a similar spot on the screen, which is the end closest to the camera in this case. They both have a front-facing camera that is right. This is really hard to do with 2 hands.
Apparently.
But in the top center of the screen, if you were holding it in portrait mode, and the iPad 2, of course, has the rear-facing camera right there that the TouchPad does not have. Okay. So one test that I thought was fairly interesting, the WebOS supports Flash, which Safari and very glaringly the iPad do not. One test that I thought was fairly interesting is, so this is the IE9.
This was horrible.
This is an IE9 demonstration video.
This was so sad.
This was meant to show off how many frames per second IE9 would do, I think, directly compared to Chrome, because Microsoft was trying to say how much better IE9 was than Chrome. But it's a useful test for WebOS and the browser on WebOS versus the browser on Safari, because with 20 fish on the screen, I am doing 9 frames per second. I think it was up as high as like 16 or 17 at one point.
Like, my fish aren't even moving.
Your fish, I think, are about dead.
Yeah, I think they're about to go belly up.
At 2 frames a second. And
barely.
There's something about the screen sizing that it looks to me like the iPad is cheating on screen size in some way, because while it is full screen, the browser seems to think that, this IE demo seems to think that 982 by 662 is the full window size, and on the WebOS, I'm getting a full 1024 by 686, which I think the difference there is the browser Chrome at the top, and there may be a slight zoom. I'm not sure.
Well, certainly seemingly a zoom, as Brandon had stated before the video in the iOS browser.
But I mean, it is important to note here that these fish. Your fish are dead.
No, they're gone. Like, there's no performance on Safari on the iPad 2. And go ahead and pull up the Facebook page, because I think that was a pretty telling demo too. So even without a lot of heavy elements on the page, reloading or loading for the first time, it is noticeably faster on the touchpad.
I don't know if we can hit these at the same time. Wait, where's my refresh?
It's kind of odd here. Ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
I think I missed.
Yeah, that's okay. Yours is going to load quicker anyway. Yeah,
yeah,
see,
mine's done.
Yours is done. Mine's still...
Yours is
kind of
thinking.
It's thinking. But wait, no, it's almost... You're not logged in either, so it's got to load all my other crap, possibly.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the login is the difference, but now it is only just now refreshing the page.
It's still, even with browser for browser, I mean, maybe it's you've got a better antenna in the HP TouchPad compared to the iPad 2.
Well, we do know that Apple has antenna problems.
What's that?
Apple does have antenna problems.
Well,
I mean, the iPhone 4 certainly is not without its antenna issues.
Well, it's not like you were touching it or anything, but I don't know what the issue is. Usually, it doesn't take this long to load. Either way, this is probably a bad comparison here because something's stuck on that. Something's
definitely stuck. So that was definitely not a fair.
It may not have been a fair one to say to illustrate here, but
every other time we tested
it's been. And I'll tell you, as an iPad user and lover, the iPad 2 is definitely a hell of a lot
This is something
slower.
that for business users I think is important. Google Analytics. I'm showing off a low traffic site because really I don't want to share my traffic with the world necessarily, but. All of this stuff loads. Like, if you've ever tried to load any of this on an iPad, you will know that these graphs just simply do not show up. You pretty much need a third-party app or something to get any Google Analytics information. So
there's a good instance where Flash is...
Yeah, I mean, and this is like, and I know people have complained about Flash as being problematic and it should be banished from the web, but things like charts and graphs, while it can be done with HTML5, I think Flash is still an easier way to do it, and so I don't see Google Analytics being rewritten in the near term to solve that problem. And you can see, I'll show again. We'll see how fast this loads. But
see I think actually you bring up another thing that I wanted to point out too. I think the responsiveness of WebOS seems to be jittery. Like
definitely in the browser.
In beyond, even in apps, like animations aren't smooth. It's dropping frames. There's
some frame compensation. I think I would say that so I think while the browser loads faster, frame, like you can see.
Yeah, I don't know if the video is going to pick it up, but it's dropping frames. It's not
as snappy. So I think there could be some real-time trade-offs there where Safari went for, and just the general iOS went for smooth, elegant motion, and WebOS went for fast where it could get fast.
And the good news is they're going to do over-the-air updates for WebOS, and most likely would address, or you would hope they would address those shortcomings.
And
Jake was trying to figure out how to close a page.
I mean, I don't have 700 million apps on my WebOS device. There probably even aren't that many yet.
There's not even that many on me.
So one of the cool things, if you want to get rid of a page, you just or any window, you just slide it up, and it's gone. Obviously, that's not a feature of the iOS, but
so go ahead and head over to the HP TouchPad edition of the App Store.
Okay,
because it seemed to have quite a few of the apps that you would want to use, even out of the box. You were happy that
Evernote was there instantly. That's sort of my test, because I use Evernote to store a lot of just random things I'm trying to keep in my head or keep out of my head rather than and know that I can find them again later. So if we do a search, the real test, of course, is does it have Angry Birds?
I don't know why.
I wish that they would autofill. That's something that.
Oh wait, it did. It just
did
took a second.
Oh, it took a second.
Yeah, there's some weird, like.
My bet is they push out a WebOS update here sometime in the near future. And as you can see,
it's got every version of Angry Birds on the planet.
What I find interesting is so Angry Birds, the original, $1.99. Angry Birds HD, free. But that's and they are doing this. They are very clearly copying the iOS methodology of HD is symbolic for the tablet platform as opposed to the phone platform.
So wait, if you bought the lower res version, would it just be scaled up?
I don't know. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to pay $1.99
I would not waste $2 to find out.
No, I may do it with some other app if I can find an app that is not available. Because from what I understand, their stuff is supposed to be developed once and it just works.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It could be that they did a deal with Angry Birds to try to create some excitement around having the app.
Way to go, Rovio.
And I'm going to go ahead and while I will probably never ever play this, I'm going to download this just because the last thing I downloaded went really fast.
Well, it may have been a small binary. Although that's moving along.
That's kind of nice.
Quick. And you can pause the download there. That's nice. That was a huge chunk.
That seems to be downloading.
Assumedly, will run in the background. Could you swipe down your notification bar or touch in the top corner? Notification bar, like at the top, like that down arrow. I'm just curious. I always want to explore. VPN built in. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it does have VPN. I have the rotation locked. You can mute the sound from there. There is a whole nother settings. So one of the things that I noticed that I like about this is in the settings, you can keep the screen from turning itself off to save battery, which I do not think that you can do with the iPad. So I mean, this could be like a demo unit where you would always want to have the screen on something for as long as the battery was up, and it would keep doing that. The iPad eventually would turn off if it was just on a web page.
So here's a question then. You've got a front-facing camera?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and...
figure out how to use the front-facing camera.
I'm going to open up the camera and just go front-facing on this one.
And I'm guessing at this because...
Just do a test of your head or something like that, or your face.
I got to figure out where...
I just want to see the quality of it.
I got to figure out where to find the camera.
Do you have a search?
Is it under photos and videos?
It has to be. Or it should be. I don't know if it has
This is probably something we should have done before we...
You know what? This is part of the, part of the how fluid is this? You can't really tell. I mean, something's loading, obviously, but it seems to take a while for an app to launch. Maybe for the first time, who knows?
Oh, you know what? This does not have the camera.
It doesn't have a camera?
This does not have the camera, as far as I can tell.
Oh, you mean, I was like, wait, what? Oh, you have to log in?
You have to log into it. That's for accounts, I think.
So that takes you back up to There's got to be a way to...
Is it phone and video calls? Does it only work for video chat?
No.
Messaging, maybe?
No. Really?
Like, so it's not a camera at all.
How? No, we're missing something, dude.
We have to be missing
That
something.
doesn't make any sense. I can't imagine the tablet ships with a...
Which, by the way, is there Photoshop? Is there Photoshop for the iOS?
Yeah.
Because I used Photoshop on my Android phone. This is a complete sidetrack. I used Photoshop on my Android phone the other day, and it was awesome. Like, I have wanted photo editing because the PixPlease, which is like the Instagram alternative for Android users, and it doesn't have any real editing in it. I mean, yeah, you can choose between things, but what if you want to crop? There's no crop. Like Instagram, squares the picture down, and so I downloaded Photoshop, and Photoshop works amazing on Android.
Yeah, Photoshop does a pretty good job on iOS.
I have no idea if there's Photoshop on this. I haven't looked yet, but Adobe Reader's here. Good to know. We must just not know anything if we don't know where to find the camera.
Well, I was going to do a comparison, but maybe I figured
Maybe
they would have
we'll-
a camera app.
Let me see if I can find it. So,
2 hours later, looking for a camera app.
2 hours later, looking for a way to use the camera as a camera, I'm left thinking that I have to use Skype in order to use it. And to me, that's a major fail because...
Or we can't find it, and that is also a fail.
yeah, I mean, the fact that I can't find it, and I'm not an idiot. I mean, maybe
well,
I am, but...
jury's still out on
Jury's still
the
out on
group of us.
Jury's still out on whether or not I made it. Oh, the other thing that I will say is this has the Beats audio. I have not listened to it. No idea if it's any good, but according to the marketing hype, the Beats audio stuff on here is better than every other tablet audio solution.
You would know. You're more of an audiophile than most
And
people.
we'll see. I think it's all a lie, but it's good marketing. So with that, should you buy an iPad or a WebOS device? I'm going to leave that up to you. If you've already got an iPhone, buy an iPad, and I'm going to go with that simply because the apps are portable between the two. If you're in the market for a tablet for the first time, I would be highly inclined to take a serious look at WebOS, particularly if you do things like a whole lot of business applications. Google Analytics obviously runs on here. If you like Flash, I think Hulu Plus may actually work on here just in the web browser. I haven't tested it, but it seems like it should because it supports Flash.
Well, it would be really interesting to even compare the, and I think we can do this in another video, the touchpad with possibly an Android tablet like the Nook that you...
I could certainly compare this to the Nook. I'm not sure that's a fair comparison because I think the Nook is underpowered, but it's a fair-ish comparison. And I'm certainly not going to go to buy a Zoom because who wants a Zoom? And with that, there's your comparison.